Hi friends, and welcome to my chill style vlog. This is a reading vlog with a 24-hour reading challenge with it. I'm expecting this to be super chill, super lighthearted. I am trying to see how many books I can read within 24 hours, and I thought this is the perfect time since I'm traveling to Korea, and 20 hours in the next 48 hours I will probably be on transit. So I have a lot of downtime to just read, especially since I won't have internet connection for at least 15 hours of it, since I'll be on an airplane in the middle of the sea. So perfect timing, I felt like. I have a whole list of books on my TPR that I have been dying to get to, along with one pair read with my husband. So the book that I'm for sure going to finish off within maybe the first couple of hours is The Lightning Thief. My husband said he wants to reread it, and he says that he wants me to also read it, so I'm reading it. I have very low expectation for him to actually read it though, so we will see. I will keep you updated on that. I also have the X-Hex, I have Powerless, I have A Touch of Darkness, and The Perfect Mistake. So I have a whole range of romance books, some fantasy books, some romantasy books. So I'm really excited. Oh, I also downloaded Manacle. I heard a lot of good things about it on TikTok and on YouTube. So I've never been a Harry Potter fan, but I will say I always wanted Hermione and Draco to get together. I love my villain stories, okay? I always thought they had more chemistry. It's the same thing with Zuko and Katara. They should have gone together. But that's beside the point. I will also be picking up Manacle. We'll see how far I get into it. I haven't read fanfiction in a hot minute now, and I generally don't read Harry Potter fanfiction since I was never super into the fandom. But I just heard so many good things about it, and it's so good that it's going to be published as a novel itself. So I'm excited to be able to see this, how Manacle is, and how her published book is going to turn out. So I'm really excited about that. I'm just going to wrap up this part of the vlog. It's supposed to be a really chill video. Next time I will see you will probably be on a train. So I just got to the airport and I spent the last hour listening to Holly Black's The Cruel Prince. There was a lot of hype around this book, and it's not living up to its hype. I think it's pretty boring. There's like this vengeance that Jude has against fairies, but she also wants to be amongst them, so there's like that internal conflict that she's having, and I guess it's kind of okay, but her character just did not intrigue me. She's just a little bratty. And then Carden, the male lead, is supposed to be the Cruel Prince, and he's just boring right now. I know he's supposed to be a little bit mysterious and has like that mystery vibe, so you're wondering like, oh, what is his backstory? Why is he cruel and all these things? And what is he gonna do as his brother ascends to the throne? And for me, I'm just like, I'm so bored. I think I'm just gonna stop. I'm at 40% or so, and I have about 7 hours left on the book. I do have a lot of downtime, so I think I'm gonna pause that book and read a series, or I'm gonna read a book that I'm currently reading. I think it's Ruthless Night. I don't have my Kindle with me right now. It's with my husband, and I'm trying to find a quiet spot to film. I think I'm gonna finish the book that I'm currently reading and pray for the best. Yeah, so that is it for the first 1 hour update. I will keep you guys posted as I get going. We'll see if I continue on with The Cruel Prince. I basically picked it up, or I'm continuing it because I have it as the audiobook version on Spotify. So I've just been listening to that as I'm on the train, but now that I have more leeway, more space to read, I think I'm just gonna open my Kindle and finish the books that I've been reading and get started on The Lightning Thief, since I know that I want to finish it for sure within the next couple of days, so my husband and I can talk about it and I can encourage him to read it. So yeah, I will see you in the next update. I'm so dehydrated from the plane. I'm gonna give you guys an update on my 24-hour reading session. I'm at about an 11 hour out of 24, which is pretty good. I did already film this earlier, but I was not awake for it. Or I attempted to film it and I was not really awake and nothing made sense. So I decided while I'm getting ready to take the train to Busan, I'm just gonna do my 24-hour reading update, and so far it's been pretty good. I finished The Lightning Thief, which is the book I talked about at the beginning of the video, where I'm trying to get my husband to read, or he's trying to get me to read it to get him back into reading it. So I finished that and it was a pretty good book. I was pleasantly surprised about how much I liked it. I didn't expect to like it so much, to be completely honest. I'm usually not into just plain fantasy, but I thought the execution was really well done. It was really fun, easy read. The only thing I would have to say is that there's a lot of plot holes. I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking too much into it, but there were like times where the gods can hear what you're saying, except the gods didn't know who stole the lightning bolt, even though there were direct communication between one god and one godling about the lightning bolt itself. So I was just really weirded out. I was like, does it just not work 24/7? But if it doesn't work 24/7, how does like Zeus always thunder whenever somebody says something bad in his name? That was my only gripe about it, the little plot hole. But overall, it's a fun adventure, easy read. I give it like 4.5 stars. It was easy, it was fun. I sped through it really quickly. The next book that I finished was The Ruthless Knight. That is a part of like a high school sports romance. I thought it was a pretty good book. I was pleasantly surprised because I expected going in to not really enjoy the romance aspect of it because it's high school romance, and I still don't like the high school romance of it, but I love the inclusivity for women of all sizes. I love the heavy topics that it talked, but I did wish that the author just picked one heavy topic to talk about rather than try to mix both, because we don't need both characters to have major flaws, in my opinion. I felt like one character with one of those major flaws is good enough. So if you didn't know, the book does mention some heavy topics such as self-exiting and dieting. Those are like nicer terms to put it, just because I don't want to get YouTube angry. And I felt like the author could have just picked one and focused on that. Instead, we had both storylines happening, but I felt like it could have been built on a little bit better. I don't know if you know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I felt like the author could have focused on one singular one and bring more light to it and how to help someone in such a situation. I don't know if she just put it in for the plot aspect of it, but it was pretty well handled for the most part. So those were the 2 books I finished. What else did I read? Oh, and on the plane, I did get my husband to catch up on The Broken Ring, which I was super stoked about. He is very enjoying that book, and if you guys heard from my last video about how I'm like encouraging everyone to read it, I really am. I made my husband read it on the flight, and it has some spicy scene. He was not up for it, but I was just like, just read it. I could tell you to skip the spicy scene when it gets there, and it's not even that spicy, okay? So he caught up to the 2nd season, or up until their hiatus for The Broken Ring, and I'm super stoked about that. We talked about it. I had a good time. Okay, and then after I finished The Ruthless Knight, I figured I should go back to The Cruel Prince, and there really isn't that much about the Cruel Prince. We're mainly focusing on Jude right now, and Carden, who I suppose is the Cruel Prince, but Carden's just a little annoying brat. I don't know, I'm not into it. Yes, he has a tragic backstory of being beat up by his brother. He just has no lovable trait that I'm just like whatever about it right now. I'm also whatever about Jude. I felt like the world building is a little bit too much in this one because there's so much information dump and it's so hard to keep up with, especially as an audiobook, that maybe I would have liked it a little bit more if I read it as a book versus listening to it. I don't think I'm going to be continuing this, especially now that I've landed in Seoul. I could just pick another audiobook to listen to because I have no idea what's happening. Also, the audiobook is awful. No hate to the voice actress, but I felt like they made her re-record a lot of the clips, so it sounds really off at some points, especially the Vivienne. Oh my god, Vivienne. Like every time she has to say that word, it feels like they re-recorded it, so the cadence and the tone and everything is completely off from the rest of the sentence that she's saying. It would be like something like, and then she took Vivienne's book. There's just like something a little bit different and a little bit off, and I can't handle it. I really can't. It was not for me. So that is it for my 11-hour update. I believe I have another 3 hours on the train because I'm taking a train to Busan. I think I'm gonna read A Touch of Darkness since I just read The Lightning Thief, and honestly, it's such a vibe, the Greek gods. So maybe I'll read The Touch of Darkness, which is a Hades and Persephone retelling. So there's that. Oh my god, okay. I also wanted to say my husband was like, you're an idiot, because he's read The Lightning Thief, so he knows like the major plot point. And one of the major plot point is, who is Percy's father? And like within the first chapter of the book, I was like, it's obviously going to be Poseidon, right? And he's like, why do you think that? Because the Lightning Thief, Zeus, because he has a lightning bulb, Zeus. And I was like, because P stands for Percy, P stands for Poseidon. And he was like, and at some point in the chapters that I read, they name dropped him as Perseus. And he's like, you do realize the name Perseus comes from like a Greek godling who is a son of Zeus, right? And I was like, oh, I guess that would make more sense, but I'm sticking with my theory for it to be P as in Percy and P as in Poseidon, and I got it right. And then he was baffled. He was honestly baffled. He tried to give me like a ring around. He tried to tell me to think about it a little bit more, but no, this brain has nothing in its head. That is the extent of the knowledge and the extent of anything I know about Greek mythology. I basically know the big gods, so like Zeus, Hades, Persephone, Aphrodite, Medusa, and I only really know them because of this game that I play, which is Fate Grand Order. And there was like a whole chapter in that game because it was a storyline based game where we talked about Olympus, and we traveled to Olympus and we met the Greek gods, and that was the only knowledge I had for anything coming into this book. So he should have expected more, because there was no Perseus in that chapter of Olympus, so therefore I would not have known. Okay, anyways, that's it. That's my wrap up for the 11-hour mark. I'm gonna try to finish the 24-hour readathon between today, tomorrow, and maybe one more day, and I will keep you guys updated. I will be reading A Touch of Darkness. I also started a manhwa / webcomic called Father, I Don't Want to Get Married, and that father, like, are you looking for a stepmother? Because that father is fine. I'm going to be reading it, or I have gotten started on reading it, and I'm at chapter 25 or 28 or so I'm also excited about that. Those are probably going to be the 3 reads I will be doing on the train to Busan, and any downtime I have between now and Busan. So I will catch you in the next update. Hey guys, so I'm back in Seoul, and it has been about 5 days since I filmed my last check-in, and honestly, I thought I would read 24 hours a lot faster than this, but Busan trip was crazy. I had things to do nonstop, and since I was with my in-laws, I didn't really have time to actually sit down on the train and read since we were talking to the in-laws the whole time, but I decided to do a wrap-up and talk about my 24-hour reading challenge while little mukbang for you guys. I am in Korea. Right now I'm in Seoul. So I just stopped by a convenience store and I just got this drink. I also stopped by at one of the little food stalls in Myeongdong, and I got like a tiny little kimbap rolls and I'm gonna try them. So let's talk about the 24-hour reading challenge. I finished 3 books and started and got to 50% of another book. It's really hard to determine how long I actually read, so I might have to look it up. But I actually was reading a manga for a majority of the time that I was in Busan. And the manga name is Father, I Don't Want to Get Married. And that, oh my god, I've never simped for a father that hard. Like, I like my male lead to be dark, broody, handsome, emotionally stunted, right? But Regis was just on another level, and the author and the artist knew, and they ate. Like, they knew what I wanted, and they knew what the audience wanted, and they gave it to us, and that was spectacular. So I don't think I'll talk about the Ruthless Knight or the Lightning Thief because I think I've already covered that. I'm gonna talk about the book that I got started on the train to Busan and kept reading all the way back from Busan back to Seoul. So the first book I'm gonna talk about is A Touch of Darkness, and I got to about 50% of it, and it is not to say the book is bad. Honestly, I'm enjoying the book so far, like the vibes, everything about it. I said in the previous catch up that I was in a god vibe, so that's why I picked it up, and it really satisfied that need. Like, the Lightning Thief had no romance in it. This one had like all the tension and the romance, and Hades is like my ideal male character, dark, gloomy, broody, emotionally stunted. So I'm really enjoying A Touch of Darkness. I just didn't finish it because I was just obsessed over Father, I Don't Want to Get Married, because that comic / manga just blew my mind and blew my expectation out of the water. I just can't believe it. I came in thinking it was just like a romance rom-com and a lot of misunderstanding, which I don't mind. Like, if the characters are cute and the authors and the writers portray them really well, I will enjoy it, and I really did enjoy it. I stayed there for Regis, aka the DILF. I stayed there for the DILF Regis, but you know what? All the characters are all positive. I really like how in-depth the story got, where the progression of the story just blew my mind out of the water. I believe it's 123 chapters with a couple of side stories, and I finished the 123 chapters as much as I could on my downtime when I really should have been sleeping, because I just really wanted to know what happened next. The story really hooks you in the beginning with a classical villainous trope, and then you meet our male protagonists, both of them. Then you meet them, and then at this last part of the book, you find out like the climax, and the story progression just went off the rails. It was amazing. I was not expecting how well it was written, and nothing got dragged on. We don't see any random breakups. We don't see any of those like flimsy jealousy moments, right? The relationship and the build and the trust was so strong. It was beautiful. I loved it. I highly recommend you guys all read it. It is a good book, or it's a good manga. The only thing that I was not expecting, because the whole comic all the way through from chapter 1 to chapter 123 is PG-13. And then I read the side story on the train, and I get a face full of boobies. And then I realized that, the side stories are gonna have smut in it. Okay, quickly closed that. I couldn't finish on the train because I didn't want the people behind me to look at it. I am actually surprised about how many 5-star reads I've had. Recently, the webcomics / manga have been out of this world. I don't know what else to tell you guys. It has been so good to me. Like, I read Marriage of Convenience, I read The Broken Ring, I finished The Seventh Loop Villainous, and now I am on this one, which is Father, I Don't Want to Get Married. And I felt like they really kicked it off. Like, they really put their work into the mangas and the manhwas and the webcomics, so that it just blows my mind. I'm continuously impressed about the quality of the webcomics that I've been reading recently, and I think I'm gonna continue reading webcomics because I don't know, I'm kind of obsessed. The worst part about webcomics / manga manhwas, for me at least, is the fact that I can't accurately depict or track how many pages I read, because if I go by the literal like pages I see on my iPhone, then it's in the thousands, okay? But if I go by the chapters, then I feel ripped from the amount of work that I spent reading and looking at the images. So now I'm in a dilemma as to how I'm going to track the number of pages I read for comics. And since I'm in a very like comic-esque mood, I feel like I'm going to be reading more comics as I go on. And I think with that, I am going to wrap up this video. Thank you for coming along with me on my 24-hour reading journey. I didn't get a lot of footage for this trip, and I'm sorry. It's probably because I was too busy stuffing my face with food, and just talking to my in-laws since we're in Korea. So yeah, I did not get as much reading as I expected. I thought I would just be able to finish the 24-hour reading challenge within 3 days, since I did like 15 of it in the first like 24 hours or 48 hours, and then the other 10 hours were so sporadic throughout the days that I were in Busan. And I didn't even finish the like 5 hours until the ride from the train from Busan to Seoul. So, but before I go, you guys don't understand how happy I am. Guess what I found? I'm sure you saw it on my nightstand, but I found the books. I found the Holy Grail books. This is the Broken Ring. I believe this is the comic. Yeah, I believe this is the comic. And it doesn't matter. I bought them. I bought them. I was so happy. I really wanted to buy the novel, but I couldn't find it at the store I was at. But I was just ecstatic that I have physical copies of the books that I really enjoy. So I'm really excited about that. I just hope they don't get damaged during my way back to America. I might do a reading vlog for the week, since I think this will be perfectly wrap up for my whole week in Seoul. So I might do that and take you guys along my journey. And if you guys like the video and the kind of content I make, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. And with that, I'm gonna catch you guys in my next video. Peace.
Like any, mini, mighty, mo.